and gentlemen, welcome to our courtroom. Those of you with envelopes, please open them. Those of you who it says jury member, please come up and follow me and my partner this way.
Yeah.
You be my booby. God, yes.
Mr. Speaker, if you'd please sit there. Everyone else, sit in one of the other available seats.
All right, everyone settle down. Court is in session. Beginning with the trial of Miss B. Buckingham versus the Murray estate. Miss Buckingham is facing the charge of murder, to which she has previously pleaded not guilty. Mr. Norman M. Bates will be arguing in defence of Miss Buckingham, while Miss Judith Law will be arguing on behalf of the Murray estate. Miss Law, please present your case to the court.
Your Honour, members of the jury, those who are in this courtroom. I believe Miss B. Buckingham, with the evidence submitted, committed premeditated murder. If you look at the coroner's report here, next one, next one, next one, next one. If you look here, it shows that Mr. Murray's normal dose of Valium was over his average amount. Now, the fatal dosage of Valium is 40 milligrams for an averagely healthy man. Now, Mr. Murray, as you can see, was not a very healthy man at all. So that dosage would kill him. So, I believe that Miss Buckingham is guilty in this sense. This injustice will not go unserved.
Objection! She's clearly wrong, Your Honour.
You'll have to turn to speak, counsel. Well then, Miss Law, proceed.
I'd like to call Mr. Murray's ex-wife, Miss Yee East, to the stand.
Now, Miss East, how long have you been divorced from Mr. Murray?
About 4 years.
Right, and throughout your marriage, B. Buckingham was under his employment?
Yeah.
What would be his responsibilities around the estate? Did she maintain her work well? Did she make mistakes?
B handled a lot of the chore work around the house, you know, doing laundry, cooking meals. She was also in charge of making sure Phil took his medication. I don't think she made many mistakes, but she's only human, so she must have made some.
Miss East, you said that B was in charge of his medication.
Yes, but I'm not quite sure why I'd have to clarify that.
What medications did Mr. Murray take?
Quite a few. He took Valium, and quite a few painkillers, Xarelto, fluoxetine, steroids for his arthritis, and morphine. He was a very sick man. his latter
Miss
days.
East, would you say that he treated...
How much Valium did he take at a time during your marriage?
Around 10 milligrams? I can't say for certain.
Now, as such a vital person in Mr. Murray's care, if she did make a mistake toward the end of her tenure at the Murray estate, as you said, would Miss Buckingham be on the top of the list of potential cuts?
Well, B was one of his best staff, even with her mistakes, but I suppose if he was thinking about making cuts, then yeah.
Are there any other reasons that you are aware of what would potentially cause Miss Buckingham to commit such an awful crime?
No, I don't think there is.
Was Mr. Murray loyal to you?
The man was a multi-millionaire with all the fame and influence he could ever want. Of course he wasn't. I was his third wife, mind you. Cheaters never change. That's what ended the marriage anyway. He was even sleeping with his lawyer.
Ms. East, I have told you stick to the facts. Tell me what happened.
Well, Phil called me at around 7. He never really calls unless it's something urgent. So I picked up. Good thing I did, because when he answered the phone, he sounded awful. I asked him what was wrong, and he didn't respond. So I figured maybe he was in danger, and I rushed over there to see him. When I got there, all the lights were on, but the door was locked, so I got my key out of my pocket to unlock the door, and
What did you see?
nothing. And that was the concerning part. When I went in, I called out for him, but he wasn't there, so I figured maybe he's in the kitchen and the oven's too loud for him to hear me. So I went out into the kitchen. The oven was on, warm still even, but no sign of B or Phil, so I figured maybe they're in the dining room enjoying a dinner they'd just cooked, but plates were practically licked clean, but still no sign of Phil or B, so I figured maybe they're just relaxing after a very filling dinner in the living room. So I went out to see if they were watching the TV, and they weren't, and Phil wasn't in there, he wasn't in his chair, the TV was on playing stuff, which plays when he's taking a nap. So maybe he was upstairs. So I went upstairs, I thrust open the double doors of the bedroom, and nothing. The bed wasn't made, there was clothes all over the floor, and the duvet was just spread out. And then I heard it, the bump from the ensuite, so I pushed open the door, and I found B. Buckingham standing over his cold, dead body!
Now, Miss East. This appears to be one big misunderstanding. In reality, as a result of your testimony, claiming that Mr. Murray would sometimes take more of his medication than was prescribed, this had to have been an accident. And sadly, that's what's made him overdose. Well, as for B, if she didn't know she was going to be fired, she'd have had no reason to kill Mr. Murray. I'd reckon the reason she was in that bathroom in the first place was in an attempt to resuscitate him after he had overdosed himself. Oh, one final question, Miss East. Who called the ambulance?
Well, Your Honour, I'd like to call for a break.
Huh?
All right then. Bit of coffee anyway. Court is adjourned.
Jury, follow me. I'll show you to your meeting room.
Follow me. Those of you, if your note says doctor, please follow me.
What was that? You're asking me?
I didn't expect him to go off like this. I mean, it should be fine. He said that he'd get me out of this.
Well, we have to wait until the jury decide that, don't we?
It'll be fine. Anyways, you promised me Barbados. Come on. I mean, never mind him. Someone, anyone in this jury needs to understand what actually happened that night. I don't think I can sleep until I've told someone the truth. Truth is, this is all a big patch-up. I don't know how obvious we've been, but how did this actually start anyways?
Well, Phil did call me around 7, but it wasn't because he wasn't feeling well. It's because he was lonely.
Right.
And he needed a familiar face to talk to.
But what I didn't know is that my darling over there has ulterior motives. It's so hard. I mean, nobody really likes their ex-husband. If he did, he was but I knew that they still talked. It gets her name on top of Phil over any of his kids. Turns out, she decided she wanted to cash in on this Phil and collect it from him. Not forcibly. I didn't realise anything was up until she called me on her way over, asking if the old man was still taking his Valium. I answered honestly, like a complete idiot. I didn't realise anything had gone wrong until an hour later, when she called me again. And I thought he'd gone off on her, you know, like, he's a very conservative man, they have very different views. But, turns out, it's the other way around. She gave me too much alcohol. This is fine. Just sit down. I got it.
All right, everybody settle down. Jury.
Your Honour, I believe I have some vital information that could shift the course of this
I
trial.
said settle down. No new evidence is being accepted, Miss Thorne. Jury, I now need you to make your decision on the case of Buckingham versus Murray.
But, Your Honour, I have
Hey,
said...
you heard Judge Suckle. Zip it.
Thank you, Mr. Bates. Now, can the Speaker of the jury please stand?